Alex, here we go. Now it's the big leagues because the schedule gets very soft again after this game. But Sunday night, if somehow they can put it together Sunday night and beat Buffalo, now everyone's fantasies could come true. Making the playoffs. If you beat Buffalo and you got that terrible, terrible schedule coming on your way with a bunch of loser teams, you still play the Jets twice and they're terrible. The road is golden in front of you, but they do have to go to Buffalo. Buffalo's a touchdown and a half favorite. What do you foresee happening? How could the Patriots beat Buffalo in Buffalo?
So I do think it's going to be a closer game than people think. Some of that is just divisional football games always end up a little closer. You look at what Miami did against Buffalo a couple of weeks ago. Granted, that was in Miami. Also, let's not forget Drake Maye went into that environment last year and had one of his best games of the year. They were up 14-0 at one point in that game. Obviously, that lead goes away, but he's going back up there with another year of experience, with a better team around him, with a better coaching staff. And, if he can kind of replicate that, he's at least going to keep them in the game. How do they ultimately win it? I think they have to tackle a lot better. James Cook does a great job, the Bills running back, of finding hidden yardage.
Is there a more underrated running back in the NFL than James Cook? Like, people, I don't think appreciate how good he is.
I would agree with that. I think that happens a lot to players that play with Josh Allen because so much of it gets put on Josh Allen, the magician. Look, he's doing this, that, or whatever. And the guys that are around him are good players too and don't always get the credit they deserve. So, yeah, he's definitely up there. If he's not number one, he's high on that list.
I wanted to ask you about the Patriots defense. Obviously, containing Josh Allen is very, very, very difficult to do, even if you're a good team. I want to know your opinion of the speed of the secondary and the linebackers to keep him back and passing instead of allowing him to run for extra yardage.
I think a lot of that honestly starts with the front four, and they've been inconsistent getting pressure with four at times this year. When it's on, but they go through stretches where they don't have that. So this is a test of this new defensive system against Josh Allen. Other teams have run it against him, but for the Patriots, right, you're going to be aggressive. You're going to be getting upfield. Well, that can mean that lanes open up to scramble. And are they going to do less of that? Or are they just going to be able to win their one-on-ones and get to the quarterback and not let him get to those lanes? When he does get to the second level, the speed of the linebackers is going to be important. This is where you count on a guy like Robert Spillane to truly be able to cover sideline to sideline. And when Josh Allen does take off, do you limit those runs to 3 to 5 yards and not let him get first downs and more? So Robert Spillane, very, very key player in this game for the Patriots. But I also do think some of it is on that front four that if you are shooting upfield, if you are playing aggressive, you got to get home because if you run past him, Allen, he's going to step up in the pocket and go.
Gonzalez on the field last week. What are you looking specifically from him in this game against Buffalo? Obviously, some more progression and more reps, but how do you think he's going to factor in?
So I think the big thing for him last week was he played almost the full game. That's kind of what you look for players coming off an injury. You hope he can still do that and there's no setback. I'm really interested to see how they line it up because Keon Coleman is the Bills' number one receiver, but he's a more big physical guy. He feels like more of a Carlton Davis assignment. And then do you put Christian Gonzalez on Khalil Shakir in the slot, who's killed them, or do you put him on the tight end Dalton Kincaid? We've talked about this a few times this year that the Patriots are in this weird scenario where there are opportunities for them to maybe use a corner to take away a tight end. We talked about it going into week one. Obviously, Christian Gonzalez didn't play, and then you saw what Brock Bowers did to them. So I'm just really fascinated to see, do they put him on Kincaid? Because you're not going to put a corner on a guy like that big if he's banged up. But Kincaid really does a good job of moving this offense. So I'm fascinated to see how they use him in the matchup piece of it.
Yeah, so you think they could put him on Kincaid? You think that they could?
Well, there's no real. Keon Coleman isn't, and stop me if I'm wrong, Alex, but Keon Coleman isn't a prototypical number one. That's the problem with defending this offense. They have a bunch of good receivers, but no one great one.
Well, no. Well, I wouldn't think that's a problem. I would think that's a good thing. But Dalton can. This is interesting. So you see number one corners go up on tight ends?
So not always.
Well, no, not always. I'm saying you see it, though.
It can be a matchup thing, and they kind of use Kincaid as just a slot receiver at times.
Uh-huh.
The big example of this Patriots fans might remember is they put Aqib Talib on Jimmy Graham against the Saints a number of years ago and just erased him. And that was a Saints team that kind of like this Bills team, like John was saying, you don't have that prototype wide receiver. Now, maybe it would be Gonzalez on Coleman and Carlton Davis on Kincaid, but I think Gonzalez has a little more experience playing in the slot, which is where Kincaid's probably going to be. So, but you can't forget about Khalil Shakir either, because again, he's killed the Patriots. So there's just a number of different permutations with it. The interesting thing to me is because Kincaid is kind of a wide receiver like tight end, do they treat him a little bit like a wide receiver? And maybe it's not the entire game. Maybe it's in spots, right? Third downs or when they're in 12 personnel and Shakir's off the field, that sort of thing. But I do think it's something to maybe watch for.
I would love to see that if they get Gonzalez trying to check Kincaid, try to get in his way off the line. Kincaid could kill him. I mean, that would be very interesting. I would like. Well, that's something to look for. That's a little bit of inside information to look for. I would like that.
And Kincaid's 6'4", 240.
Yeah, and Gonzalez is not known as a physical. He's not the strongest guy in the world, if I'm not mistaken.
So it might not be like you're. I don't know that you're gonna like jam him off the line, but just having that as an option, it's just something you see teams do sometimes when you're really worried about a tight end.
Okay.
How aggressive do you think Josh is going to be?
Look, I think last week was a really encouraging week for the offense. Not only did they scored a lot of points, but it was clean football. They didn't turn the ball over. They didn't put the ball at risk. So I kind of thought last week you'd see a more conservative version of the offense after they had the 5 turnovers. Having that game, I think, maybe encourages Josh McDaniels to step it up a little bit. So I don't know that you see like full bombs away, but Josh McDaniels' offense always progresses as the year goes on, and it's never the same in September as it is in December. This would be a good week to pull out some of the wrinkles that he's maybe been working on that we haven't seen yet.
And one other question about Stephon Diggs, who showed a lot of signs of life last weekend. This is a big game for him this weekend. I would hope that they try and spotlight him in the offense to get him going early.
I would hope so too. And he's going back to Buffalo. It's his first game there. Houston didn't play at Buffalo last year. So first game back since they traded him. He gets rolling last week. I think his chemistry with Drake Maye looks like it's in a good place. I would give him a ton of opportunities in this game. I would make him a big fixture in this game because he should have a little extra something going back into Buffalo.
His usage last week, is that more where you see him being utilized and where he should be utilized? Now, again, it's only week 4 and we didn't see much of him, especially in the first game or two. But it seems like where they have him on the field and where Maye was finding him seems like the sweet spot for him.
Yeah, and the usage was multiple things. He's lining up outside, he's lining up in the slot, a bunch of different, pretty diverse route tree. Just having him kind of be a guy they can use to hunt matchups, which is sort of that old Julian Edelman role. So, yeah, I loved what they did with him last week, and I think more of that going forward is what's best for the offense.
All right.
I guess I thought of him as being utilized almost not exclusively, but more in the slot. But yeah, I'll have to check. I'll have to watch the All-22, Barth, to see him used as that deep threat. I didn't think it was as versatile a usage as you just said, but I trust you on that.
So it was more in the slot than it's been, but it was also he played more snaps than he's played. He played a higher percentage of the snaps than he's played the first 3 games. So they were able to do more with him because he was just on the field more.
All right.
Don't feel the need to break it down in such an elementary fashion for the benefit of Hardy.
Hey, listen, I'm looking forward to getting on that podcast with him and Andrews and hearing about shooting the A gap and zero sets and wheel routes and stuff. Things that I know I'm speaking Greek to you right now, but when those two are talking, I'm picking up what they're putting down.
Yeah, I call it the Firestone, the wheel route.
No.
Yeah, get cute. So people don't know what I'm talking about. Right. All right, give us a prediction. What do you think's happening, Alex? And then we will end this.
I
didn't mean it in a mean way. Jesus Christ, John, you're the one. Hardy didn't laugh. You laughed like I said a mean thing. I didn't. I said then we'll let him go.
And this charade. Go ahead.
It's 7:40. It's the end of the break. I love Alex. See, John, you're a dick sometimes.
Yeah.
John's the dick.
Am I a dick?
You
I thought it
laughed
was
at
funny.
something that I didn't mean to be funny. All right,
Okay.
go ahead, Alex. I'm sorry about that.
No, I appreciate you buying time. I haven't done a prediction yet. I had to think of a score. I'm going to go 31-20, 38-31 Bills.
Oh, a high-scoring game. I like that.
Sounds like a good game to watch.
That would
That's
be a
for sure.
fun
Yeah,
Sunday
I
night
think
game.
this is going to be a lot of fun. I do think this is going to be a really fun football game.
I like that. And you like it's a 7.5 point spread right now. He likes the Patriots to cover.
I like fun. For the latest from the Sports Hub, download at 985thesportshub.com.